sunshine. Welcome back to my channel, Alex in the Sunlight. I'm Alex and I'm so happy to see you. The purpose of today's video is to find out what is coming towards you in the month of May. And because May is a number 5 month, I've got 5 piles here. Group 1 is citrine, group 2 is rose quartz, group 3 is selenite, group 4 is smoky quartz, and group 5 is amethyst. If you've already chosen your pile, that's fine, but if you could humor me and close your eyes and take a deep breath and ask your spirit guides to aid you in choosing the correct pile for you, so that when you open your eyes, the one you are drawn to first is the right one. Okay? Let's get started with group number 1. Hi, group number 1, those of you who chose citrine. Okay, so it looks like the month of May is going to be a really positive time, and it could be on the tail end of like a lot of, I want to say chaos, but I feel like that's really like general for everybody because of everything that's been going on in the world. I feel like this is more so about like a kind of chaos that brought around things that maybe you weren't paying attention to, or things that you didn't really know or understand were going on or happening in your interpersonal relationships and the dynamics, like the way that you communicate with people. Like I see a lot of relationship stuff here, but it's not necessarily about like specific relationships like family or romance. This is more so about like in general your relationship with like the world and how you interact with other people on a day-to-day basis. So I feel like a lot of things are stabilizing in May, and it's because you're kind of ready to move on from all of that other stuff. So I feel like with the tarot cards that you pulled, they're telling like this story of somebody who is like the teacher and the student. So I feel like some of you guys are in positions in your life where it could either be your job or literally just in a spiritual sense, like a student of life, and then you go on to teach the things that you've learned through your own experience, but it could literally be you being a teacher. I also see some of you as being spiritual leaders, so maybe some of you, are part of a church or are part of some kind of spiritual group and things like that. But I see you entering into a lot of situations where there's like an equal amount of give and take. Like that's what I mean by I feel like there are things that are going to be stabilizing in May. I feel like that's one of the biggest things, is realizing that a real abundance in every aspect, not just, monetarily, but every aspect of the word is all about, giving and receiving and being open and generous with yourself and others. And like when you are in that kind of a state, there's just a lot of harmony. Like I feel that's kind of the direction that you're taking is a more harmonious one. But the first card you have is the Hierophant, and so that is talking about, it's reminding me of this Eight of Pentacles over here, but let me get to that in a second. So the Hierophant, it's letting me know that even if you guys aren't actual, teachers, like even if that's not your actual job, you are going to be in a position in May to impart wisdom to others, and you might even be seeking wisdom. You might notice yourself in your day-to-day really receiving downloads and paying attention more to the little lessons that you learn, especially coming out of this, the beginning of the year. Like I feel like there was a lot of lessons that you were learning, and now you're trying to apply them. I see you guys as being very like logical and practical and wanting to apply things in a practical sense, wanting things to make sense. And so you might be getting into a routine more so in May, or trying to find ways to build structure in your life. And I keep hearing the word rules. So I feel like you might be setting guidelines for yourself, setting rules for yourself to follow, or you might be seeking, not necessarily like you're trying to follow what someone else is doing, but like you're trying to find inspiration in structured things in your life. Like, I can see you guys trying to read more about spirituality, or read more about the subject of your choosing, whatever it is that you're really passionate about right now. I can see you guys trying to find more knowledge and structure within that topic, or within that subject of study. And it's almost like you guys are trying to find your own piece of like a controlled environment amongst all of this chaos, because there is so much up in the air. Every day, the news is changing. Every day, our situations are changing. So I feel like you guys are kind of taking on the Hierophant energy to try and find some semblance of, peace and structure amongst all this chaos. And I see it as a positive thing. Usually when I see the Hierophant, sometimes I'm like, okay, this might be rigidity, but I don't see you guys as being rigid necessarily. It's just more so you're trying to find a way to gain some peace and gain some clarity during this time. And it's going to be really positive. You've got the Six of Pentacles here. And I think that because how you interact with other people has had a spotlight on it, there are going to be some things that you release and let go, and that's going to bring in abundance. You're making room for that abundance to come in, and then you're going to be like sharing. I feel like you guys are going to be much more in tune and empathetic and compassionate in May, and people are going to feel the same way towards you. Like I said, it doesn't have to be monetarily, but this is the Pentacles. So you could be feeling more generous with your time or your money, or it could just be, emotional generosity, like, getting into this mode of, I take care of you, you take care of me, kind of thing. Like I said, in the month of May, I really feel like a harmony, an emphasis on give and take is going to, take up a good amount of space in your life, and it's going to be a really positive thing. The Eight of Pentacles, like I said, is reminding me of this Hierophant. So with the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like you guys are going to be, like I said, trying to learn. And some of you are literally students, but I feel like in a more spiritual sense, you're trying to be like a student of life. You may have been hesitant in the past, or you may have been resistant in the past, but I feel like in May you're going to be much more open-minded, and you're going to be trying to, it's almost like you're saying, like, I don't have all the answers, so let me try and like find out who does. And it's not, the point isn't, oh, somebody out there really does have all the answers. The point is, it's like you're having this understanding that you can learn from people. They don't have to be, your friends. You don't have to even agree with them, but it's like you're taking on this stance of everything in life has something to offer me and something to teach me, and I'm really willing and ready to learn, because I know that's how I'm going to get to where I want to get to. And I feel like with this Hierophant, you're going to be taking these things that you learn, or that these downloads you receive spiritually, and you're going to try to apply them. So for example, say you read this book about, opening your third eye or something like that, or you're trying to delve deeper into, your intuition or your natural psychic abilities, and you hear, okay, so you need to meditate or something like that. This is about like, oh, this is what I read, I'm going to go and practice that. Just be careful that you don't err on the side of perfection, because the point isn't to learn all this stuff so that you can just like master it right away. Like, give yourself the time to practice it and get better. so that you can really learn your own unique ways of doing things, because I feel like you're going to be learning a lot. And like I said, you're going to be having this open mind, and you're going to be wanting to share your wisdom with others. So remember that you have your like own innate wisdom. You don't have to do everything by the book. I feel like you guys might be wanting to, because like I said, you're craving some kind of structure. But it's okay. Like, it's okay to like color outside the lines. You don't have to worry about um, being so perfect like right away. And then you have the Five of Cups in reverse, which goes really nicely with Branwyn down here. But the Five of Cups is just saying, I think, like I said in the beginning, that you're ready to move on. Like, you're kind of realizing, because you're in this mode of being a student, of learning, of taking in valuable wisdom, you're looking back on things that have already happened, possibly even things that happened recently in the beginning of the year, and realizing that it all had a reason and it all had a purpose. And you're kind of understanding that it's not really healthy to hold on to any past resentments and things, and you're just kind of like, okay, this is a heavy load. I'm really ready to let it go. I think that also could be a part of your learning journey here, is while you're learning about all of these other things and while you're gaining this perspective and this abundance, it might teach you what it really feels like to let go, because I feel like we get told a lot to let go. We get told to forgive. And that's not really something that you can just like read in a book and then know how to do. It's something that just really comes from you naturally in your own time. And I think that if you set the intention, let it, like, you can wait and it'll eventually happen, but it's not something that you can force. And so I feel like this is really positive, because it's not you trying to force yourself to move on. It's you realizing, oh, I really am actually ready to move on. That stuff doesn't affect me the same way that it used to, and I don't even look at that situation in the same way anymore, and I'm not even mad at that person anymore. I'm ready to move on from that, which is really great. So in the month of May, it looks like your trajectory is like one that's, like I said before, really harmonious, a lot of learning, a lot of application of what you've learned, and then a lot of imparting that wisdom onto others, and a lot of feeling safe and secure and finding some stability amongst all of this chaos, and probably being able to return a little bit to some aspects of your life that maybe have been put on hold. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with, like I said, interpersonal relationships, because you've got the fox here, and the fox is like a really great partner. And they're really playful. Like, this is really playful energy. I think this is kind of like representing getting back to just enjoying your time with people. And you also have the enjoyment card here. So I think this is like, maybe if there was some, bad blood or some heavy energy around you and your family or your friends or whoever, this is about like realizing what's important to you at the end of the day, and grudges isn't it. Like I said before, I feel like you're going to be feeling much more stable. And I think this is going to be giving you some kind of confidence. Like, the fox is going to be with you through the month of May, kind of reminding you that there's a certain kind of confidence and a certain kind of like just overall feeling of security when you are in harmony with others, or when you can really feel like the love from the people that you care about, and you just feel like you want to love them back. This is like a really warm energy. So I think that so no matter what's happening like in the world, I feel like this is going to give you a sense of positivity and hope for the future, that, nothing that we perceive as negative lasts forever. Um, so this too shall pass, and as long as you guys have each other, then you're going to be fine. I feel like you're going to be recommitted to certain people in your life, and really feel like, you know what, this is a strong bond, and this is something that like I really appreciate that I have, and that I want to last. which is really positive energy. And then you have this enjoyment card. So like I said before, I feel like maybe in the beginning of this year it was a little bit crazy, and it could have been heavy, and you might have been a little bit confused and like really pushing and pulling and striving. I feel like some of you guys might have been trying to like escape the chaos, and trying your best to like stabilize shaky ground that wasn't really ever meant to be stable. So this is like letting you know that that time has passed, and that you can try and go back to enjoying yourself. You know, find stability in other ways. I feel like this is letting you know finding a structure through learning could be your safe space. So focus that kind of like energy that you're seeking into your learning and into this give and take, and then save the rest of your time for enjoying your time. You don't have to control everything. You don't have to know what's going to happen next. It's not even preferable for you to know what's happening next. It's just about realizing that like all that there really is the present moment, and you actually ensure that your future is bright when you're in the present moment trying to enjoy it and make the best of it that you can. But the card says, striving and pushing makes life into endless hard work. The more you're inviting love to take over, the more enjoyment comes. Allow me to enjoy this life, dear Lord. So I feel like some of you, you know, like I said in the beginning, you're practical and you're logical and you're probably hard workers, and you know, you don't really like to let things fall by the wayside, and you might be a little bit serious, and that's okay. But this is letting you know that like you can't just be serious all the time. And I feel like this fox energy is going to be reminding you of that. You might be a little bit more playful than you're used to in May. You might kind of go back to childhood a little bit, and remember what it's like when you looked at the world with just like new eyes. Like everything was wonderful. Everything was kind of like you were awestruck at it because it was being experienced for the first time. So I feel like this is letting you know that it's good and safe and desirable for you to inject that playful energy back into your life. And then Branwen, the last card is Branwen. She represents forgiveness, and she's going to be tugging at your heartstrings during the month of May. So if there is any resistance to letting go, she's going to be there reminding you that you need to, that the past happened for a reason, but it's past. There's no need to time travel and go back there and ruminate on things that you have no control over anymore. She's all about realizing that, like, even though we could have the best intentions, or even though, you know, we really care about each other, oftentimes, you know, we as humans, we hurt each other, and we could hold grudges about it, but that wouldn't get any of us anywhere. That wouldn't be beneficial to any of us. But like I said as well, you know, it's one thing to tell someone to forgive, but it's another thing to just feel that forgiveness on your own. So even if it takes the whole month for you to really feel this forgiveness, let it take that time. I would suggest journaling and just writing down your feelings, especially when you feel like you're having those moments of resentment or hurt about things that, you know, have already gone on, or about people. Like, just write it down exactly how you're feeling, come back to it later, and try to look at it in a more unbiased way and realize, okay, this is how I was feeling, but how can I heal what I was feeling? And then also, I was just thinking, I feel like this is the kind of energy that is like, if there has been one person or a few particular people in your life, could be family, and you just don't see eye to eye with them, they're, you know, probably they might be, you know, the root cause of a lot of resentment, or maybe there's just a lot of friction with those people. There's a lot of healing to be had when you just kind of like say, you know what, that's who they are, that's how they are. I can only be me. And when they start doing or saying things that I know just don't align with who I am, I don't have to be mad. I don't have to argue. I can just remove myself, and just take people how they are, for who they are. And if they're incredibly negative or they're incredibly toxic, that's just letting you know there's no point in getting mad or upset. That's letting you know that you've got to release them from your life. But overall, I see May as being a lighthearted time and a harmonious time. And if you can remember through all of your learning and all of your trying to find some kind of routine for yourself to just play and have a good time, you'll have a really good time in May. It'll be a really like bright, sunny energy that's guiding you throughout May. Okay, that's all I've got for you guys. Group number 1. I really hope you enjoyed the reading. Let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page at Alex in the Sunlight so that you can see exclusive patron-only content. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 2, those of you who chose rose quartz. It's really apropos that you chose rose quartz too, because in the month of May, it's all about love, really, and not romantic love. This is kind of like, I feel like the universe is going to be dealing you some tough love in the month of May, and how they want you to deal with it is basically by getting silly and getting happy on your own, which may be a little bit tough for you, but overall, this is really about what it's really about is recalibration and setting you up for a life upgrade. So you're going to be learning these lessons in the month of May, because afterwards, like, everything is going to change for the better. But you can't manifest like amazing things that you want in your life until you're prepared for them, right? So it's often like, I feel like you might have put it out there, like a wish out into the universe, like, I really want this type of life, and the universe was like, okay, well, this is what you need to do to get that. And that may be a little bit strange or hard to understand, but trust me that all of this is for your highest good. And it's really not even that bad. I feel like you might think of it as worse than it actually is, because these are about breaking some old habits. These are things, thought processes, and ways of being that you have gotten used to for a long time. Some of you are Libras, and that's fine. I just feel like a lot of you are like social and tend to, or there's a lot of Cancer energy here too. I feel like some of you Pisces too. You guys are the type of person to give too much of yourself. I keep hearing overcompensating. You could be the type of person to be super giving of your time and your energy and your space to the point where you deplete yourself, because you're really seeking some kind of love from other people. Really, that's what it really boils down to, is that you are like a true lover, and you really want to feel embraced and like you belong, and like you have like a lot of love in your life, and you do, but there's just, it's been imbalanced for too long. So in the month of May, you're going to be made aware of a lot of these imbalances. And I feel like some of you might feel like you're incapable of handling it, but you're more than capable of handling it. Others of you probably know what I'm talking about and have probably been feeling for a little bit that, you know, some things got to change. You just may not have known what it was, but there's something that you've been trying to manifest too, not just with love, but just like overall in your life. Like, there's a life change that you want to happen, and you could be unaware that how you've been dealing with love and loving yourself, and like how you interact with others has been hindering you from manifesting that life change that you want. So let me just get into the cards. The first one that you have is the Magician in reverse. So I feel like this is kind of talking, all of these cards are really talking about that recalibration that I mentioned. But with the Magician, this is one or two things, or both. Either you have these tools and you don't know what to do with them, or you feel like you don't have the tools and you don't know where to find them, is the energy that I'm getting. But this is just more so about realizing that like there's been a lot of distractions keeping you from actually figuring this out. And I think that some of you are really prone to seeking others' advice, seeking others' approval, and for some reason, like you think that's like the end all be all. And so it's put this magician in reverse, because when you look at the magician upright, he has all the tools, he knows what to do, he's about to make magic, he's really about to manifest his best life and whatever it is that he wants to create. He knows how to do it, and he's following his own heart. He is, guided by his own compass. So it being in reverse is kind of just like, I feel like you've lost your way a little bit. And in the month of May, you might be just called to realize that and put it right. You might be shown some signs from the universe that like turn back, you went the wrong way, you've been, you went off the trail and you've been lost for too long, we have to get you to get back on track. And that can be frustrating. You've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like you guys have probably been frustrated in the past, like, why can't I do this? Why can't this work out for me? Why won't that person, treat me how I want them to? Or why won't these people be my friend? Or what, things like that. And so the Five of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like you might have like a moment where you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. And it could be difficult. You might feel like, oh wow, like I wish I hadn't made that decision. Or you might feel just a little bit like discouraged, or like you can't trust yourself, but you absolutely can. Nobody's perfect. Mistakes are a part of the journey, and every lesson that you've learned from choosing the wrong people to be in your life, or letting others make decisions for you, that was like a lesson, hard won but earned. So I feel like this is in reverse, letting you know that you're ready to walk away from that. You're ready to move on. You're ready to change your mindset. You're ready to stop thinking in lack, right? Because you could be thinking to yourself like, well, I want like 20 friends, like I want this huge group of friends, or I want the cool people to notice me, or that kind of energy. This is kind of realizing, oh wait, what about like that one friend I've had this whole time while I was chasing these other people? Like, this one person hasn't really asked anything of me, doesn't care if I'm cool, they're just my true friend. So it's kind of like, I feel like you'll be on this kind of lost path, you chasing something, and then this is about, like I said, the universe showing you signs that you've lost your way, and then you turning around to realize, oh, I actually have all of this stuff. Whether that's friends or family or literal possessions. It could be realizing like, I actually have more than a lot of people in the world. This could be kind of stepping outside of your own experience to realize that like we all have trials and tribulations, and we all have a certain amount of privilege, right? So kind of owning up to the actual blessings that you have in your life that surround you, even though it's hard, because sometimes we just want to hold on to that victim mentality. I think that you'll realize, oh, I'm in a much more empowered space when I focus on what I do have and not what I don't, even though it's hard. You've got the Queen of Swords in reverse too. So I feel like you could have these moments of realization and then moments of reverting back in May. And that's okay, because like healing isn't linear. It's like a zigzag. There's lots of ups and downs. So you might, feel some negative influences in May, or asking the wrong people for advice, or even if you don't ask them for advice, the wrong people could just be trying to like impose their advice on you. This is really going to be about like taking your power back and realizing you have a mind of your own. You have your own thoughts, you have your own beliefs, you have your own moral compass, and you have your own intuition. So, even though we can help each other along the way, we can't really influence each other either way to do what we were sent here by the universe to do. Okay? So, I really feel like I want you in the month of May to put this Queen of Swords upright, to have that sovereignty over yourself, to have that confidence over yourself. Swords are about the mind, right? It's air. So just kind of like choosing your own way to go, and realizing, like I said, you have a mind of your own. You're not just, somebody else's like puppet. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how cool you think these people are. I don't care, how accomplished you think these people are. They're not you. So they don't have whatever special, unique qualities that you do have. So, it's right under this rose quartz. I think you guys are going to be going on a definite healing to get you towards a self-love journey. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's not linear, and it's not about like going and looking at and seeing what other people think is self-love. It's really about just deciding for yourself. That's a part of it, right? Because I feel like some of you could think to yourselves, okay, she said I'm going to go on a self-love journey. Let me go look at some influencers who love themselves and see what they say. It's not really about that. You have to decide for yourself. And I think you will, because you've got the Seven of Cups in reverse. So I think this is going to be about breaking those illusions. Going back to what I said before about the universe kind of showing you signs that you've lost your way. I think that this is going to be a part of it, like shattering illusions. And like I said in the beginning, it might be difficult and you might feel like, oh, why is this happening? But really, it's happening so that you can see clearly. It's happening because you have many talents, many gifts, and that translates into many choices. How you'll know which choice is the right one for right now for you to take is to, recalibrate, change these habits, put these really powerful energies right again, so that you can, be your own governing force, right? You are autonomous. You don't, we like, there's power and connection, and we do need each other to a certain extent. So it's not wrong that you are social. It's not wrong that you value other people's opinions, and you value other people's feelings. That's not wrong. But when you get to the point where you need other people's opinions to make a decision, that's when you know, okay, like something's off here. So there's going to be a lot of illusions that are shattered, and you're going to be pointed in the right direction. But it's really you doing it. It's like your higher self doing it for you, not anybody else. The animal spirit guide that's going to be with you throughout the month of May is the octopus. And so this octopus, it just reminds me of like the energy that I've been feeling from you guys this whole reading. Like, you are very unique, you're very interesting, you're social, you're intriguing. People probably really like telling you their business or like their life story, and you in turn share your experiences and this, that, and the other, and that is really positive. But it's kind of gotten a little bit imbalanced. So the octopus is going to be with you, reminding you like, yes, we are social, yes, we are interconnected with other people, and we love this connection, but we are also our own person, so we have to know when to set boundaries. The octopus is going to be there to remind you, set boundaries. You do not need to tell everybody your business. It's really not even preferable for you to tell people your business or your plans. I would say, keep conversation light and make sure that it's focused on really lighthearted things. Do not get into gossip and, judgment and that kind of stuff. And be careful of clinging and needing. Like, I would say turn that energy towards yourself. I think in the very beginning I said, like, you guys are a little bit too generous and overgiving of your time. And this is kind of about realizing those tendencies and having the courage to stop, which you absolutely do. And there's going to be a lot of like spiritual energy trying to guide you toward, more of a self-sufficient way, because this is the thing, and this is where the tough love enters. You've got the true love card here. And so this is talking about, like, oftentimes when we are in these energies of being too generous or being like, selfless or overly altruistic or overly like complimentary or overly loving and just like I said, clingy and needy, we could see it as like, oh, but I'm just being loving, or I'm just, we could see it as like a positive thing, but in actuality there's like this hidden intention behind it to, you know gain some kind of recognition or energy from that person or those people. Like, we're being overly loving so that they really love us back, or we don't say how we really feel, or we don't really tell people, what we really think about them or what they're saying, or we don't stick up for ourselves because we're afraid that we'll lose a friend. If you have to, dumb yourself down, or if you have to act overly lovey for someone to be your friend, they're not your friend. And you have to realize that in a sense, you're kind of using them. And I get that you consciously probably don't feel that way, or you consciously probably don't feel like, it's wrong, but this is going to show you in the ways that, like, you just need to turn that energy towards yourself and realize that, like, true friendship or true loyalty doesn't come from you being somebody's angel. It comes from like mutual respect and mutual give and take and mutual love. You're going to be noticing the areas in May in your life that aren't mutual, where the love is kind of unrequited. And while it may be difficult at first, I feel like you're going to come out of it much more empowered and realizing, you know what, I'm my own person. I'm a very loving person. I have a lot of love to give, but I'm going to be a little bit more discerning from now on with who I share that love with. But the card says, your wholeness and safety lie within, not from a partner, but this sovereignty actually leads to the deepest intimacy for you to stop using others. Let me stand on my own feet, dear Lord, and know true love. Right. So true love, like I said, doesn't come from, being this angelic person in someone's life. Like, you can be kind and you can be giving to a point, but at some point you've got to realize when you're putting on a show or when you're putting on an act for someone because you want them to react in a certain way. That's disingenuous. So I feel like moving forward after this recalibration, you're going to be in a much more genuine space with other people, and starting this like true love, self-love journey. And the last card you have is Uzume, and she represents humor. So I know all of this can be a little bit jarring or a little bit heavy, but how the universe wants you to remedy that is just by getting, back to just being playful and having fun. It doesn't have to be so serious. Even though it feels that way, it could feel a little bit heavy, it could feel like really serious. Kind of learn to laugh at it, learn to laugh at yourself, learn to laugh at the world, realize that, like, the things that we really feel, like the drama that we really feel a lot of the times isn't even that deep. And she's like, if you look at this card, she's just so full of joy and she's just laughing out loud. That's kind of how the universe really wants you to to be in the month of May. It's just more lighthearted and not necessarily so heavy and so bogged down with your expectations of others and your expectations of yourself. And when you get into this lighthearted mode and when you get into this like more humorous mode, I feel like downloads about what you need to do to put this magician upright and manifest your dreams is going to come to you much easier because you won't be in a state of resistance. When you're in that mode where you're like laughing and you just feel ease and you feel relaxed, all of this stuff will start coming towards you. So when you learn to let go of this need to have people like you or want you or whatever it is, and when you learn to let go of needing approval and you just start trying to have fun with things, you'll actually notice that like it's like the floodgates are released and a lot of your manifestations start popping up much easier than they were before when you were in a state of like clenching and holding and pushing and pulling and resistance, right? So it's just about releasing, being more laid back, release all of that tension. So you might want to do some yoga in the month of May. Maybe you could do like, a 30-day yoga thing. And it doesn't need to be anything that's like super difficult. You don't have to do, hardcore vinyasa flows. It's just more so if you can train your body to notice where it's holding tensions, muscles, and release that, you can probably do the same with your mind. You know what I mean? But I think overall it's going to be a very necessary month for you guys. And afterwards, you're going to be really surprised with how much more authentic, you feel and much more happy you feel because of it. But that's all I've got for you guys, group number 2. I really hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Alex in the Sunlight. Consider becoming a Patreon over at Alex in the Sunlight to have access to patron-only content. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 3, those of you who chose selenite. The crystals are really coinciding really nicely with the cards that are being pulled for everybody, because selenite is kind of like a protection and a clearing crystal, and that's definitely a theme that's running through your month of May. There was an extra card I didn't even realize that I pulled for you too, so I think the universe is letting you know, 1, you are very special and you are protected and you are loved, and that even though May is going to be an intense time for you, it's actually, I'm excited because I feel like you guys are going to come out like unstoppable. And I know, I'm not trying to say that like you deserve hardship or hardship is like a thing that, we should experience so that we can, be these like warriors and things like that. It's just more so specifically for you. That's the energy I feel, is that you're going to be going through some things that you're going to come out, like I said, unstoppable. You're not going to be easily influenced by anybody. It's going to be rare that anybody can tell you something. Like, I just feel like you guys are going to be so powerful. You already are, but these energies are just letting me know, like, I keep seeing this vision of you kind of like in the dirt, just like digging and setting this foundation for something that will not come down, like no earthquake, no amount of water, or anything is going to be able to take this thing that you're building out. Because in the month of May, like, all any any shaky ground, any like any rot or anything that could possibly harm your foundation for the life that you're trying to build is going to be wiped out. So that's why I said, like, I know it's going to be intense, and oftentimes, even though these types of things are super positive, they don't feel so good when it's happening in the moment. But I think that you guys, like I said before, you're really powerful. So I feel like when it's happening, you're going to be knowing why. it just doesn't make it much easier, you know. But you've got all these, major arcana cards and this Knight of Pentacles, and it's a lot. But okay, let me just get into the cards first. So you've got the Star in reverse. That's the first indication that lets me know, okay, the universe is going to be cleaning house. Like May is going to be about spring cleaning for you, because your dreams, like that vision that you really have for your life, hasn't been able to thrive or truly grow. Excuse me, because it's almost like the seeds that you planted weren't in the right soil. So you have this beautiful dream, you have these talents, you have these gifts, and you have the capabilities of manifesting it. It's just where you're at right now, or with whatever situation is at hand right now, isn't the best for it to bloom, for it to grow. So you could be feeling at the beginning of May a little bit lost, or a little bit of feeling like you've lost your hope in what it is that you're trying to manifest, or you've lost your faith in yourself or the universe. And while that is understandable, it's not true. You shouldn't lose faith. It's not that your dreams aren't going to come true. It's not that you don't know how to manifest. It's just, like I said, certain seeds that were planted were in the wrong soil. So you've got this Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And this is about kind of, in the month of May, the universe is going to be guiding you to take a look, take stock of your life, and realize like where you're at and how you got here. So I feel like you guys are definitely going to not be taking the position of a victim in the month of May, even though it might hurt, or even though you might feel frustrated. Like I said, you could even feel it like, I don't even, what's the point? I'm like, this is hopeless. I feel like at the core of who you are not a quitter. And you're going to be sitting there and thinking, okay, what is really going on? How did I really get here? And taking responsibility for your dreams and for your life. I think you're going to be looking at, because it's the Wheel of Fortune. So it's like, it's kind of about like fate, but it's more so about, how you align with your fate. I feel like you're going to be taking this stance of like, okay, I know that, I am in control of this here, this body, this mind, this heart, this spirit. Like, this is me. So what's really going on? And I think you're going to be taking a look at like all aspects of your life, like relationships, your work, your daily habits, where you live, and just like putting that eye on them, and looking at it like, okay, is this really what's real? Like, kind of definitely letting go of any like illusions or anything that you had before. Like, you're gonna be determined. I feel like you're gonna, whatever delays are happening, or whatever, like maybe like misfortune happens, instead of like taking it as something's happening to you, you're going to be looking at it like, okay, what is even really the reason behind this? Because you're going to be wanting to improve. Like, all of this clean sweep that the universe is going to be doing, like the spring cleaning the universe is going to be doing in your life, you're going to be paying attention to why those things are being taken away, or what you were being stopped from. I feel like I say it a lot, that every rejection is protection, but I feel like you guys are really going to know that. Like, you're going to think about it, even though it might be annoying or frustrating or hurt. Like I said, I think that deep down you're going to be like, okay, but what really was going on there? What was I being saved from? And that mindset is going to set you up perfectly for this Knight of Pentacles. But I'm going to jump over that to the Chariot in reverse, because the Chariot in reverse is letting you know, like, it goes perfectly with these two cards here. Feeling hopeless, or feeling lost, or feeling like you've lost faith in your dreams, then realizing like, no, like, these are my dreams. I'm going to take responsibility for them, and I'm going to figure out why this setback is happening. And then the Chariot in reverse is just the confirmation to you that the universe was like, you were going the wrong way. You got to make a U-turn. You were like headed 100 miles an hour toward a brick wall. We've got to turn you around. Even though you feel like you were having all this momentum, even though you feel like, you were taking the right road, everything, you could feel, have you ever felt like when you were driving, like you know where you're going, and then you go to take your exit off the freeway or something and it's closed? Like, the universe is turning you around, even though you may not see why. There's a good reason. And if you were wondering, over here with the star in reverse, if you were wondering if all of your effort was for nothing, it's not. This is confirmation letting you know that you were just going the wrong way, and that's okay. A lot of this spring cleaning that's going to be happening is so that you can really figure out what's right for you. You're constantly evolving and growing and changing. So your dreams are going to also transform as you do. Metamorphosis is a good thing. And as you change, so does your trajectory. So does your direction in life. So it's truly a good thing when the universe decides to intervene like this and put you on pause. Because it could just say, all right, let her run into the wall. You know what I mean? But there's too much potential in what you could truly build and what you could truly manifest. So the universe is basically giving you a shortcut, even though when we have these obstacles and challenges, they could feel like the long way around. If we could really see what was going on, we would probably just be like shocked and amazed. So just know that, like, even though it could feel in the month of May like, oh, why are these setbacks happening? Trust that they're happening for a reason. And it's so that this thing that you're trying to get towards is bigger and better than you could even really truly imagine in the state of mind that you're in right now. And you got this 10 of Swords in reverse. So this has, like, to me, a double meaning in this instance. There could be times in the month of May where you're like, even though logically all of this is happening for your highest good, emotionally you could feel kind of drained. Emotionally, you may feel like, why me? Or I'm so sick of all of this. And that's understandable, because guess what? You're human. You need to feel what you feel. Just be mindful that you don't identify with those feelings. So, like, say you feel like you just keep losing. That does not mean you should identify as a loser. You see what I'm saying? This is swords. This is your mind. This is your thoughts, right? This is how, this is the habit of thought when we experience hardships. They can make us think that, like, we aren't good enough, or they can make us think that this is just all our life is going to be. And then you can unconsciously, like, manifest more of that, and that's not what you want to do. So, but also with it being in reverse, it's letting you know this is ending, right? This isn't going to last forever. So whatever challenges do arise in May, whatever obstacles do arise, it would benefit you to remember that this too shall pass. And like I said, all of this cleaning, this cleansing that's happening is because the universe is like, listen, we believe in you. We believe in this dream that you have. So we're coming in to help you, because you weren't really realizing that it wasn't going the way that it should have gone. And then that brings me to this Knight of Pentacles, because I feel like a lot of this is very heavy, very intense. And then the Knight of Pentacles is that silver lining. If you look at the imagery too, these cards are kind of dark. And then the Knight of Pentacles is like, boom, this really bright light showing like these beautiful green branches. And it's letting you know, I'm pretty sure actually, now that I'm looking at it, that this is a conifer or some kind of evergreen. It's about building something that lasts. I feel like even though you might be a little bit emotional, or you might, get in your feelings, at the end of the day, you're really strong, you're really powerful, and you want to get the job done. So I feel like you're just going to take this as an opportunity to dig. You're going to be digging. You're going to be helping the universe help you to get all of this mess out of there, because you're going to be laying foundations for something that can't be taken down. Like I said, no earthquake, no water, no fire, no wind. Like all of that isn't going to affect what you're building. So I keep seeing this image of you kind of like in the dirt digging, and like I keep saying, trying to lay this foundation for this thing that you're going to build. The knight is about that hard work to get towards their manifestation. So not quite the queen or the king yet, but someone who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty, especially with the pentacles, right? The material realm. This is about like being in it for the long haul and letting go of seeking instant gratification. I feel like you guys are going to have a shift in mindset where you don't necessarily value things that come fast because you realize they leave just as quickly. I also see this image of you kind of coming out of like a cabin in the woods or something and seeing that like the universe has just kind of like stripped everything away. And instead of crumbling, instead of being like, where did everything go? You take it as a sign that it needed to go, that it wasn't meant to be there. And then you go back out and start laying those foundations, start planting those seeds, and really nurturing and caring for it from its inception. Because, like I said, whatever you're manifesting is going to be so strong, like you. It's going to be a reflection of you. So, the month of May is going to be very powerful and intense, but really beneficial. The animal spirit guide that's going to be with you throughout the month of May is the whale. And that's beautiful. That's perfect. Because if you think about whales in the ocean, they're so majestic and they're so large, right? And they look, I mean, maybe not to you, but to me, they just look impervious to anything. Nothing is invincible, but they just look like they're so at one with the ocean. And they just exude peace, right? And that peace isn't coming because the ocean isn't dangerous or because they're not going to get caught in some storms. It's just coming from being at one with that, understanding that that is part of being a sea creature, that is part of living your life in the ocean. So I think that the whale is going to be guiding you, reminding you that this is just a part of life, and that like nothing is set out personally to harm you, and that it's just cultivating resiliency and perseverance in your personality. The whale is just unafraid. And if you look at the imagery, like down here, it's so dark and then it gets light, and the whale is right in the middle. And they're looking right out at you. Like, I don't know. The energy of it, it's beyond confidence and it's beyond security. It's just really, like I said, it's really about peace. And just that inner peace that comes from deciding that you're going to go with the flow of the universe, deciding that you're going to stop resisting change and you're going to stop resisting challenges. And that's not a linear journey because you're not a robot, you're a human. So there are going to be times when you're frustrated and you're pissed off and you just want to curse. But like the energy of the whale is letting you know that like beyond that though, you're okay. And you're just integrating your plan with the collective plan. You're integrating your dream with the collective dream and understanding your place in all of this. And kind of looking at your experiences with a more unbiased eye. When you're in it, you might be feeling like all of the emotions and everything, but I think you're going to be able to take a step back and realize, like, in an unbiased way, what's going on. The advice card you have is trust. It's right underneath this Knight of Pentacles. So like I said before, you might have those moments when you're just like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, I'm tired and I'm over this and I just want things to come easier toward me. That's normal and that's human. But the universe wants you to trust that everything is happening exactly as it's meant to, and that trust the timing of your life. Trust the timing of everything that's going on in May, because it's purposeful. Purposeful so that you actually get to where you're trying to get to safely, easily, and without all of these hindrances, right? But the card says, when love is invited to take over, right actions arise at the right time. Allow me, dear divine, to wait patiently until the timing is right. Let me rest in the unknown until a clear path is shown. Yeah, that's perfect. Another message, rest. When all of this cleaning is happening, that does not mean that you have to jump right into the Knight of Pentacles. That just means, okay, when you feel tired, when you do feel overwhelmed, take every opportunity to retreat. Turn off your phone, turn off whatever, and just like go, inward, go in toward yourself. Take as many naps as you want, take as many baths as you want, eat your comfort food. Really take time for radical self-care during May as well, so that, while the intense stuff is happening, you find some kind of inner sanctuary too, and trust that the universe will handle your lightweight. Okay? And the last card you have is Morrigan, Death and Magic. So she's just going to remind you in the month of May that like all of this death is just going to lead to rebirth. There's this song by Bat for Lashes called Deep Sea Diver, and I really love it because she's talking about like the tides turning in your favor, and realizing that, all in life is an ebb and flow. So even though there is an aspect of death to all of our lives, that's just a part of life, right? You can't have life without death. So even though your dreams and your aspirations could get some kind of a metamorphosis happening in the month of May, it's not because your dreams and aspirations are wrong. It's just they've got to evolve and grow as much as you do. So your life will go through as many rebirth cycles and death cycles as you do. Okay? So what's outside is a reflection of what's going on inside. So you're transforming, naturally your life will transform. And there's like a really potent magic in all of that. So she's just kind of there saying like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of death. Don't be afraid of rebirth. Don't be afraid of change. It's happening for your highest good. It's happening so you can really truly enjoy your manifestations. Okay? It's going to be a really, really powerful time, but there's like a beautiful silver lining here. That's all I've got for you guys. Group number 3. I hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at alexinthesunlight. Consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page so you can have access to patron-only content. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 4. Those of you who chose Smoky Quartz. Okay, so when I was pulling cards for you guys, I felt like a little bit of an erratic energy. And I also felt like not necessarily like denial, but like the feeling of somebody not really letting themselves feel what they've got to feel, or like know what they should know. I know that sounds confusing, but it'll make sense later. In the month of May, there is going to be some gentle push from the universe for you guys to like reevaluate what's actually important or necessary to have a good life. I think you guys are going to be reevaluating your priorities and how you approach manifesting abundance and stability in your life. I think you guys have been thinking one way for a while that hasn't been working spiritually, like on a spiritual level, but maybe it was working externally, so you kind of just like put it off. But if something doesn't sit right with your soul and your heart, even if it looks right to others, or is like some kind of conventional understanding of success, like if it's not good for you, then it can't stay. So I feel like this is more to do with a mindset and a way of life than actual, like, tangible or physical things. But that in turn will change the tangible. It'll change the physical. Shout out to my earth signs. This is a lot of earth sign energy I'm feeling, and it could be earth placements too, because I also felt like some water. But there's definitely a lot of like emotions going into you feeling like you're trying to create like this foundation for your life and this abundance in your life. So let me just get into the cards. You've got the Queen of Pentacles first. And my initial reaction was like, this is you. I feel like some of you worry about money unnecessarily. And it's because, like, either some of you aren't really appreciating yourself in this Queen of Pentacles energy, appreciating how hardworking you are, or how willing you are to take care of others, at the same time how good you are at taking care of yourself, how talented you are really to balance those types of things in life. And what's ending up happening in May is like realizing that, like, I think maybe some of you are going to realize the reason why you don't acknowledge how, how powerful and abundant you actually are is because you might be feeling like, the thing that I heard when I first saw these cards was like, yeah, you've got to, your equilibrium has been thrown off. So even though, like, you are the Queen of Pentacles, your money is fine, your home is fine, like, work is fine, if it's not what you expected or to your liking still, you aren't really able to, like I said, appreciate yourself or appreciate what you've created for your life. And I think the deeper meaning behind that is that you're not necessarily satisfied with it, not because it's not enough money or not because it's not, whatever, but because it just may not be what you truly want anymore. And this is just leading you to realizing that you've got to rest and get rid of all the noise. The Four of Swords is here letting you know, like, even though you're going to be fine and you're going to be good, have experienced setbacks in life. You have experienced what you felt like were failures. And that might be why you take on this Queen of Pentacles energy, trying to take care of you and yourself. And you and others, and making sure that, like, your home is welcoming and everyone's well fed, and you have a good job, and like these things, really being that provider and caretaker has kind of drained you a little bit, because there have been some things that have happened, and I feel like some of you just didn't really want to spend too much time on it. You didn't want to dwell on it. You didn't want to spend too much time thinking about it, which is fine. But the Four of Swords is letting you know that, like, somewhere there's something that is off. I think that you guys have felt it, like you've felt something is off. And so the best way specifically for you in the month of May to, like, figure that out and gain your equilibrium back is to take a break. And do what you got to do to take a break as well. So, like, if you have to set boundaries with people, and if you can't, be everything for everybody in the month of May, that's fine. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, which they might, because you have this Five of Wands in reverse. So I feel like, maybe in the past, people have felt like, their opinions mattered to you, or like people have felt like they have a say in what you do and how you do it. And I think that a lot of you guys are very gracious. So you'll listen and you'll let people, have the floor, and, you know, you don't really want to run into conflict. So I think in the month of May, like, you're going to be challenged to stop just going along to get along, stop pretending like everything's fine if it's not, stop allowing people to just like say whatever they want to you, or, you know, pick fights with you for no reason. I think you're going to find out in the month of May that a lot of that pettiness is due to jealousy, because you do, you know, exude this really beautiful like energy and this abundance and generosity. So even though you're down to help everybody, you're down to like, you know, be friends with everybody and like, you know, have like a really positive energy around you. I feel like there's been some people in the past who've like taken that as you feeling like you're better than them, even though that wasn't the case at all. Like it was just their own insecurity, and I feel like you've let that go on for too long. So this Four of Swords is kind of letting you know like you need to rest, you need to take a break, and you also need to set boundaries. This Five of Wands is like, hey, we gotta stop just like letting people say whatever they want to and having all of these, you know, these little snide opinions. Like it really doesn't matter. And I also feel like it's going to alert you to any imbalances in your life in May. You've got the Temperance in reverse. So I think you're going to see where you need to reprioritize and notice how, because you don't want to face confrontation a lot of the times, like I also got the energy of you guys running away from something. So because you don't want to face these conflicts, or because you don't really want to dwell too much on anything that is uncomfortable or sad and stuff like that, you could overcompensate by using excess as a form of coping, you know, or as a form of self-soothing. So I think in the month of May, it's interesting. You've got these like two, and this duality, this dichotomy in the energies, where, you know, it's actually really positive. You are the Queen of Pentacles. You do deserve a break. You do deserve a rest. But there's this other side too, where it's like the universe is going to let you know the areas in your life where you've got to really take a stand, and you've really got to defend yourself and stop running from stuff. You are strong enough to handle it, whatever you think that you're not strong enough to handle, and that's why you keep running away. You are strong enough. Because this Temperance, like, I feel like, okay, so if you are, you know, telling yourself everything's fine, like it's fine, you know, I don't want to look at that too closely, or, you know, I know that person's rude, but I'm just gonna keep inviting them to my house anyway. Like, the more you do that, like, you can't trick yourself. Your body, your mind is going to respond in some kind of way. It'll show up somewhere. So maybe you know, go on shopping sprees to self-soothe, but in the month of May you're going to realize like, actually this isn't good. Like this is hurting my wallet, this is hurting, you know, my desires, these dreams that I have. Like I actually really need that money, so I can't just keep spending that. Or you're going to realize like, you know, if you self-soothe with certain foods, and like you might, you know, make yourself feel sick, like nothing too serious, but just like giving yourself stomach aches and stuff, and realizing, well, why am I even doing that? Because it feels unconscious, like you don't even realize that it's happening. That's your body's way of letting you know like something's off. And I feel like you're not going to be able to run from that anymore in the month of May. And the universe is really going to push you gently to taking stock of your life. And also I'm feeling like there are ways that you view life that don't really serve you anymore. If you've been focusing too much on materialism, that's going to be shown to you in the month of May. If you've been really like into or seeking instant gratification, or you know, like I believe in healthy hedonism, but if you've just been like only focusing on the pleasurable things in life, they can turn sour. So the animal spirit guide that's going to be guiding you through the month of May is the spider. And so she's going to be kind of there reminding you or changing your mind when it comes to success. You are the Queen of Pentacles, but that's not everything in life, right? Material goods, your home, your possessions, your money, like that is not everything in life. I feel like the part of the thing that's going on that you feel off about, that feels like, oh, this is, something's wrong, is not having enough of just like joy just for the sake of it. Doing things or creating things, starting projects just for the sake of it, not because of, the bottom line, not because of what it's going to get you. I feel like the spider is going to kind of change your mind about being results oriented and turning it to more just process oriented, enjoying the process, and realizing how much progress can be made just there. Not in your wallet necessarily, but in your soul. Kind of like remembering what it feels like to finish a project or accomplish something just cause, and finding the value in what you learned, or finding the value in that feeling of accomplishment you get with no strings attached. Because I feel like a lot of you need to like inject some just like of that like joyful energy into your life. Some of you might be concerned with like status and stuff. Some of you may have been like taught that that was like the thing to seek in life, and that's fine. But I feel like in the month of May, you might be turning back the clock a little bit and realizing the ways that you haven't been serving yourself, because you've just been kind of like I said at the beginning, going along to get along. You haven't really been challenging these ways of thinking or these ways of being, because they worked, or they seemed to work, but now something doesn't feel right or quite right. The pieces of this puzzle aren't going together the way that they used to, and you may be feeling confused or like, I'm not sure why, but the only reason why that is because you've been running from it. So this is kind of like turning you around to face yourself. And if there are any kind of, challenges or obstacles that come around in May, things that you're not used to happening, or if because you're taking, say you take the universe's advice and you're like, okay, I'm not running it from this anymore. And so then you start feeling things that make you uncomfortable, or feeling things that you haven't for a while, and remembering like past regrets or stuff like that. This is kind of letting you know, to have some patience. The advice card you have is impatience. So realizing and remembering, like I said, that money is not everything, that the material isn't everything, that you can find success and feelings of accomplishment in so many aspects of your life. You just have to allow yourself to feel those things. You're going to be fine monetarily, so there's not really, it's not necessary for you to be so focused on, being worried about money or anything like that. And look at this temperance in reverse. If you do feel worried about money in the month of May, then find some balance, find some equilibrium. Ask yourself if what you spend your money on is necessary, and if you are doing yourself more harm than good in that area, if you're causing your own stress in that area. But the card says, my life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. Right. So whatever goes on in May that might feel a little bit frustrating, or that might feel like, like, why can't I just have the things that I want? Or why can't I just make these things happen? Like, understand that divine timing is better than your timing, because it takes into account things that you cannot see. So whatever transpires in the month of May, I feel like it would do you some good to remember that it's not as bad as it looks, or it's not as bad as it seems. I think that gratitude will help you in the month of May. and especially rest, especially boundaries. Be your own hero, and take care of yourself, like really truly. I know you're good at taking care of other people, and I know that you're good at taking care of yourself too, but this is about like deep self-care, because you've got this Freya in reverse, and she represents radical acceptance, which is about, you know, accepting failure as a part of success, accepting, you know, the ups and downs when it comes to our manifestations, and our desire to progress in life, or our desire to succeed. That comes with many ups and downs. It's not linear. So she's talking about that, but she's also talking about just the radical self-care that comes with radical acceptance. So not only doing the face masks and taking the naps, but like trusting that you have your own back enough to feel the uncomfortable feelings so that you can release them. You can't heal what you don't reveal. So whatever is going on that you've been running from, really face it, turn around and face it, because it's basically sending a sign to yourself that like you're worth that, and you're strong enough to get through that. And you know, you're a resilient person. You're more resilient than you think you are. You're stronger than you think you are. So accept that if just because something didn't go your way doesn't mean that it's not going the right way. You know what I mean? You can change your mindset at any time. You always have the space to transform. You don't have to go with who you've been, or what you've been doing, just because it's been that way for a while. And stop worrying about what other people think or say about it, and stop allowing people who make you feel bad about yourself to come into your home and take up space, in valuable time and space in your life. I think the month of May is really going to be about like you stepping into your power and realizing all the ways that you run from yourself, and understanding that it's unnecessary, because you're good. Like I said, like you're good. You're going to do what you came here to do. Nothing's going to stop you, so you don't have to be scared of that. But remember to set your boundaries and cultivate a sense of really just enjoying the process. Like, look at this beautiful web that this spider has created. Like, it's definitely not perfect, but it's hers. You know what I mean? So looking at your life like that, it's not perfect, but it's yours. Okay? I think the month of May is going to be really positive. You just seriously take some time off, take a break, set your boundaries, and don't feel bad about it. All right? But that's all I've got for you guys. Group number 4, I really hope the reading resonated. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me at Alex in the Sunlight, and consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page to have access to patron exclusive content. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 5, those of you who chose Amethyst. Okay, so the month of May is going to be a really, really beautiful time for you, and it's going to be all about you. So if you find that people, like you have like some self-centered people in your life, or people that don't make you feel good, please do not waste any time with or on them in the month of May, because really May is your time, because you've got a lot of healing to do. May is going to be about healing some deep wounds from childhood and reconnecting with your inner child, so that you can finally feel a sense of unshakable self-esteem, and really feel what it feels like to love yourself completely. Like the imagery that I'm seeing, because sometimes I see like images in my head when I'm like pulling these cards, or when I'm like reading for them, is like you needing to do some practices to where you can see yourself as or in the way that you would see a child. Kind of like, and what I mean by that is kind of like, okay, if you've ever been like scrolling on social media and then you see like this funny video of like a cute baby and they're like dancing around or they're singing or doing something, and you just start laughing, and like, you know, you don't judge that baby. You're not like, what is that baby wearing? You're like, it's almost like this feeling of just like, wow, like you're just so happy that they're happy. And you can kind of look at them with this impartiality. I, I need you to practice looking at yourself in that way in the month of May, because there's no reason why you shouldn't. We're kind of raised and socialized in a way that really dismantles our natural self-esteem and our natural ability to love and care for ourselves the way that we would a child. Because in society, you know, especially if you were raised in a time before social media, it was all about, and still is in many ways, but I mean, most of us, or a lot of us, grew up in a time where all of the media was telling us, and a lot of our family members and our friends were telling us that our worth and our value came from what we looked like, what we could do, either talent wise or for them, and you know, what our status in life was, or that was like where our value came from. None of that is true, but being taught that can just really hinder your point of view on yourself, and skew how you would view yourself. So I feel like in the month of May, that's going to be put to the forefront of your mind, because it's time for you to heal a lot of those misguided beliefs about yourself, or dismantle those, you know, those rules and regulations that you were taught are true when they're not. It couldn't be further from the truth. But let me just get into the cards. The first card you have is the Sun in reverse. So this is really talking about that inner child, like I was saying. The universe is going to be like showing you in subtle ways. I feel like you might just, you know, hear a song that you used to love when you were 5, or you know, you might be walking around at Target or something, and then you don't even know how you got there, but you end up in the toy aisle and you see some like game that you used to love to play, or you find yourself doodling when you're making a grocery list, or like, I feel like it'll be very subtle ways where unconsciously these things that you used to do or used to love will find their way back to you, and it would be beneficial for you to also seek those things out purposefully. You don't have to just let the universe do that for you. I feel like in the month of May, it would really be good for you to carve out time to just play, whatever that means to you, whatever you used to be into without anybody's say so, right? Before the world got its hands on you and said, well, that's stupid or that's not cool. What was it that you really loved? When was the last time like you really just like played or felt like you were playing, you know? That is what I feel like the month of May is truly like all about. And that is leading you to self-acceptance and compassion, and a feeling of like inner peace and inner harmony with yourself. Because I feel like all of those beliefs and all of that brainwashing we all went through growing up just teaches us, I mean, not to sound, you know, too deep, but like it teaches us how to hate ourselves basically. And it teaches us that who we are outright, how we got here outright, isn't good enough. We've got to change and mold and, you know, primp and prod ourselves into what society thinks is approvable. And it's just, it's ridiculous. Who you are, just like right out the gate, was perfect. Who you are right now is perfect. You're constantly evolving and growing and changing, sure, but like your essence, your inner child, like who you will always be, is perfect. So getting back in touch with that that version of you. And I would do a meditation where you are kind of like, you can be outside somewhere. Maybe you're in a garden, or you're at the beach, um, or you're in the woods. Just envision yourself there, and then envision someone taking your hand, and you look down and you see that it's you, as like a 5-year-old, or as like a 7-year-old, or however old you last were when you really felt like a kid. And allow you to lead yourself somewhere, in this kind of like meditative vision, and see where you go, and kind of just like learn about your path and your journey right now from yourself through this meditative process. You can go anywhere in this dream or in this meditation. It could lead you to places that, you know, need healing. It could lead you to places that would be enjoyable to you that maybe you forgot about. Like, that happens to me all the time, where, you know, I forgot that I even liked something, and who knows why. You know, how many times have we told ourselves, well, that's not cool, so I'm not going to pay attention to that anymore. You know, I think the month of May is like about kind of returning to yourself, going back to yourself. And I feel like that's going to give you a lot of energy too. You've got this Page of Wands upright. So I feel like this process of you kind of getting to know yourself again and letting your inner child kind of lead you again, is going to make you feel really excited about life again. And you might be inspired to try new things. Try them. Whatever you feel inspired to go out and find for yourself, do it. The universe is definitely encouraging you to do that. Try everything. Get your hands in everything. You know, like, be like a kid in a candy store, but out in the world. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to physically go out. I just mean like, whatever you feel inspired to learn about or try, do it. You will be supported in that, and that'll probably lead you to some really good things. um I mean, like, it could lead you to things in business or like personal projects that could be lucrative. Like, it could be all sorts of things. I feel like it benefits every aspect of our lives when we do practices like this of self-healing, specifically with our inner child. You've got the Devil in reverse next, and I think this is going to be kind of like the heavier side to this energy, because healing isn't all rainbows and roses. A lot of the times, especially if we have like ignored or suppressed some pain that we have from our childhood, we can cover it up by, you know, certain coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms. So this is telling you, this is actually really positive, because it's telling you that you're going to stop. You're going to say, like, okay, it's like you're looking the devil in the eye, and you're going to realize all of the aspects of your life that you've let him kind of run rampant because you were self-soothing, and you're just going to be like, I'm not afraid anymore. This is about facing your fears, facing the aspects of yourself that you have rejected because people told you they weren't good enough, or because you were afraid of what other people might think. So, you know, this is about like into your adult life realizing like, I'm grown. So if I like something, then there's no reason for me to hide it. About doing some really deep and intense work on yourself to stop projecting yourself, to stop trying to fit that mold, because that mold doesn't even really exist, right? When I say like, oh, society has taught us, we're all society, so we're all perpetuating this. And every time one of us decides that we're going to step out of that and heal from that brainwashing, it allows another person to do the same, and another person. We can't do this alone, but we do it first on ourselves to do it together, if that makes sense. So this is about you, and this is like a solitary process, but it's so that collectively we can all heal as well, right? We influence each other unconsciously all the time. Every time you heal, that sends out a ripple into the universe, and it inspires someone else, even if they never know or meet you. So it's really positive. It might get a little intense, and that's another reason why you want to make time for yourself in the month of May, because you might be feeling all sorts of things. You might have so many revelations and realizations, and it might even make you a little angry. You might realize some stuff that your parents taught you or your guardians taught you that was really messed up, and you're like, why in the hell would you say that to me, or whatever. Like, you could be uncovering a lot. Just be patient with yourself, and be patient with the process in those times, and let yourself feel what you're feeling, if it's anger, if it's sadness. But just know that those feelings are coming up so they can be finally released, because they've probably been like real deep down for years without you even really realizing it. And then you've got the 10 of Cups in reverse, which kind of goes in hand with what I was just saying. There may be things that you realize about your relationships that were wrong or off, that you couldn't see until now, because you weren't really operating from your whole self. That's another thing. This is about integrating aspects of yourself that you've ignored or forgotten, so that you can be a full person, coming at all of these aspects of your life in a with a complete understanding of who you are, instead of just focusing on one area of who you are because that's comfortable, right? So this could I feel like this could be realizing certain maybe toxic relationships that you have, or realizing disappointments that you have, or needing to come to understandings with certain people and maybe your family. Like, for example, say you're going through this journey of reconnecting with your inner child and being inspired again, and healing all these old wounds, and uncovering like really negative thought patterns that you have about yourself because of the way that you were taught. And then that could bring up some disappointment in the way that, certain family members handled things or handled you. Or I would just say that when you're going through this process, remember that, like I said before, we're all society. It's not like society is this amorphous blob without a soul. Like, no, we're all it. And so whoever taught you to hate aspects of yourself was also taught that. I'm not saying that you need to just like forgive and forget if there were like people who really truly like traumatized you in life. It's just more so for you. Doing investigative work really helps to kind of step away from the personal aspect of it, and not really taking things so personally, just realizing like, oh, you know, you taught me to be insecure because you're insecure. Or, you said those things about me because you say those things to yourself every day. And when you look at it that way, you can come at it from a place of compassion. And you also have the compassion card here. And compassion is so important. It's really difficult to get a hang of, to get a hold of. But it's actually, I feel like, one of the most, if not the most freeing things for anybody. Because when you have compassion, it permeates every aspect of your life. It enables you to see that there is always 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to every story, and that no one, not even the most messed up person, got there alone. So you can also turn that energy toward yourself. If when you're dealing with this devil in reversed energy, and you're dealing with this 10 of Cups in reverse energy, if stuff comes up of like things that you regret in the past, like maybe decisions that you made out of not really loving yourself, or out of a place of low self-esteem, try not to judge yourself, and try to really see yourself with as much compassion as you possibly can. It'll only benefit you in this healing journey, because like I just said, you didn't get there alone either. Whatever issues that you've been dealing with, whatever bad decisions that you may have made, first of all, bad is relative and doesn't really exist. But whatever you did that you regret, you didn't get there on your own either. The animal spirit guide that's going to be with you throughout the month of May is the peacock, and this is really perfect because it's letting you know how special and unique and vivacious and vibrant you are. This is a process that's going to return you to like a realization of how like beautiful and magnificent you are, right? As like a spirit, as a human being. And the peacock is like, it's this bird that has like this really showy and very colorful plumage, but it's really not about that, right? Sure, your external is amazing. Sure, you are brilliant and all of these things. But that's not really where your worth comes from. Your worth comes from finding yourself worthy, realizing that you're here, therefore you are worthy. You were born, therefore you are valuable. Like, everything about you is miraculous. Everything about every human is miraculous. So the peacock energy is just going to be kind of like reminding you of your own greatness, and that energy is going to spread. Like I said, May is about you, but coming out of May, you'll get to see it in other people more often too. And then that will just bring more harmony into your life in general. But whenever you do feel like you could be reverting back to some low self-esteem, because healing isn't linear, but whenever you do feel like it's that self-doubt, or like, am I even really worth this, or this, that, and the third thing, the peacock is going to be there guiding you and like reminding you, like, you are unique, you are one of a kind, you are extraordinary, no one else is like you, and you are like no one else, so respect that. The advice card you have is compassion, like I said. And the card says, as you pray each day for greater compassion, a new self is born, drawing new people and experiences. Dear Lord, help me feel ever deepening self-acceptance. May I see myself as you see me. And so that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning about like looking at a video of like a baby just having fun and feeling that feeling of joy for them, for yourself, looking at yourself through the eyes of the universe. Because the universe isn't looking at you like, "Ooh, girl, your hair." Like, the universe is just like, wow, look at this miracle, right? This living, breathing miracle. And I also feel like this is alluding to the 10 of Cups in reverse, kind of letting you know that through this self-healing in the month of May, you might let go of people. You might feel like, you know what, like, you don't make me feel good about myself. And I don't think that you really truly accept me or yourself. So I think I'm going to have to let you go. And that's fine, because you can do so with compassion, and you can do so with love. You can send them on their way with love. And then that makes room for, your true friends or your true tribe to find you, right? And then the last card you have is the goddess Iris, and she represents communication. So it's beautiful because I feel like this whole process is just going to open your throat chakra. I feel like it's going to open your mind and remind you of like your self-expression, and that you have something to say. Share your story, share your experiences, be open with people and listen. And I feel like it's just going to, you know, make you much more communicative and outgoing, because when we come from a place where we're not accepting ourselves and we're trying to hide ourselves, we don't want to talk. Like, and when we do talk, we censor ourselves. So I think that this is going to bring you to a much more honest place, especially when it comes to expressing yourself and communicating. And then that is also going to help you find like the right people to be around. And like I said, I think when I was talking about the Page of Wands, I think this is going to end up being some kind of like personal project too. This could lead you to some kind of like small business or like personal project endeavor that you could go on, that you finally have the confidence to do, like all sorts of things. This could be like endless possibilities. So I think that May is going to be like one of the most exciting months of the year for you. It's not easy going through, the past and like, trying to heal it or trying to shed light on things that you've kept in the dark. So I'm not saying that it's just going to be like a breeze or like a walk in the park, but it's definitely going to be beneficial. And I do think you will have moments where you really enjoy what's happening and where you really see yourself for who you are. I do see you coming out of it much lighter and much more excited to live your life, because like you're going to be living it as your full self. Okay? But that's all I've got for you guys, group number 5. I really hope the reading resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like this video, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at alexinthesunlight, and consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page so you can have access to patron-only content. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well.